Good morning. It's Clay on the trail. We are back in Yellowstone National Park, headed up Slough Creek for a 2-night, 3-day stay, hoping to see some bears. Break the curse of the not seeing anything in Yellowstone. It'd be a good start. I'm here with Dan and Tina and Stephanie, and we have just started out, and it's what, June 5th, something like that. It seems like somewhere around there anyway. So we'll see what we find this trip. We're out of school. That's happy. So I guess a little story or backstory to this trip. Grizzly bear mating season runs from the middle of May to the middle of June. And Slough Creek is a pretty popular area for this. Not that I came to see mating, I just came to see bears. I'm trying to look all around us. In the last couple of days, people have been posting they've been seeing bears within a 1.5 miles of the trailhead, which we are still in. So the reason for this trip, we'll just kind of slip this one in. All 4 of us applied for the backcountry lottery through Yellowstone, which gives you an opportunity to pull your permits and campsites, whatever, all your reservations in, I think it's the 1st of April they start. So you pay $10, you buy a lottery ticket, and they let you know at the end of March who won. Well, I won a ticket, and my date to draw my campsites was April, I believe 14th or 15th. Stephanie did not draw, and Tina did not draw, but Dan drew, and he drew April 1st, which is opening day. So we have a trip past Heart Lake, down through the thoroughfare, and then up out the entrance of the east entrance. So we'll go past some of the lake we canoed a few years ago. All right, so because I drew a second permit, I've been watching a gentleman named Stan Mills. Does a lot of hikes up in this country. I would have to assume he lives out of Gardner or somewhere close by, because he comes up here about crack of dawn anyway. He's always finding bears and whatnot. So wife and I just decided we'd come up here and try our luck. And then Dan and Tina decided they wanted to come. There's safety in numbers, so here we are. And we just passed a couple that told us there is a black bear just off the trail, just up here a little bit. So we will see if he's still there. So I have never been up this trail before. It just Seemed like a good place. We're close to the Lamar Valley. There's a squeaky on top of that rock, but a ground squirrel. There he went away. Anyway, but just looking at the trail profile, the first part of it is fairly steep and goes up over this little plateau here, and then it'll drop down into a bunch of meadows. I believe there's 3 distinct meadows, and we will just do a gradual climb. We'll end up at 70, I can't remember, 72 or 7,400 feet in elevation, which I guess may seem like a lot, but that's where we live. All right, and here's a whole group of people looking at a bear, is my guess. Oh, that's me. I'm sorry.
All right. Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
Say pour your pants down while I get up.
Oh, sorry, I'm going to get out of your way.
You're so good.
Take all the pictures you want. Not that I'm, you know, I'm trying to get you between me and the bear.
I know how to duck. Okay, so we found our bear. There was definitely a crowd of people down here. He is just, I hope it's a he. We're hoping not to find cubs up here. Those guys are just day hiking up here just to see the bear. We are headed to a campsite, so we have gone up the trail around him. That is just a great profile shot of him. We are trying to maintain distance while still maintaining movement. Get him when he's in the sun. Beautiful. The curse is broken. The only flaw with this bear, that it's a flaw, is we came to see grizzers. Black bears are cool, but we'll take it anyway. No, he's just in the grove. He's still going down the trail. Still exciting. Like have no cars to hide behind. We all have bear spray. I believe we've made the creek, and I would have thought it was a lake for how big it is. It is flowing the banks. But that is Slough Creek, and it is running against the other side, the other bank. Yeah, there's got to be some rapids or something around the corner, but after the hill we just climbed, it's got to go down that hill, would be my guess. There's a ranger cabin here somewhere close. We're hoping to stop at. I can actually see some buffalo from here. Yeah, the curse of the backcountry no animals is officially broken. We just passed a couple, I guess French, not positive. I believe that's a trail, but I don't think we're going to go that way. Anyway, they said they saw a coyote in their camp first thing this morning, but haven't really seen any wildlife up here, so I think they're not looking. There's another buffalo by the trail up here, but here is our lower patrol cabin, and we're gonna stop here and see what other accommodations they have. It's about lunchtime. It was too long of a drive and to come up last night after work, so we made it about halfway, and it was quite a drive this morning to get here. So we had like 11:40 when we started on the trail. Okay, so here is the patrol cabin, their fire area. There's an outhouse up on the hill. Looks like another outhouse down the hill, and then there's a storage cabin, but I've just read so many stories about bunkhouse and rentals, but lower Slough patrol cabin. Maybe that's something that happened many years ago and they don't do it anymore. There's definitely been some buffalo up here. Oh, and they took their chimney down and repatched it. Oh, big doors, I don't know. A lot of cabins near water, they store canoes in them and stuff, but I don't know what they're storing up here. Could just be any number of things. We will carry on. We're gonna get to go get close to a buffalo here now. Let's go up the hill. Don't run, just keep trucking. He's fine.
Check these out.
He's just stretching. So we finally decided to stop at like I think it's 4.3 miles to the spur trail to campsite SJ1. Ate some lunch, had a snack. There's 20-30 head of buffalo here down on the river below us. There's 3 over here. SJ1 is down in the trees over this way. Anyway, this is pretty. It's different country than I'm used to for Yellowstone. This reminds me more of the Wind Rivers. Rocky outcroppings and bunches of trees, and it's these rolling hills over here with the grass on them. They're full of, I'll see if I can find some. Now that I'm looking for, there won't be any. Spring beauties, Virginia beauties, whatever you want to call them. They have lots of names. Lots of different varieties of them. Anyway, that's what the grizzly bear dig up, and they eat the bulb. It's these plants right here. There's a little bulb on the bottom of them, and that's why they have the big back muscles and the big long claws. It's for digging roots. I can't tell if there's wind or water coming up. Anyway, feeling refreshed. We're halfway. Okay, here is the whole, all of this white flower in this area over here by this rock is all spring beauty. So if you're camping in an area with bears, and there's a lot of this stuff around, and you can see it now that I see it, it's everywhere through here. If there's spots that are just dug up, don't camp there. That is a for sure sign that there's bear activity around. Okay, so we're coming up on a campsite because I can see the bear box. So we'll go do a quick tour. I believe it's going to be SJ2. Make sure nobody's in their camp, but we'll go peek at it. Well, I was definitely right about hearing something. I wasn't sure if it was wind or water, but that's quite the water. So this is the trail to SJ2. If there are people here, I will gracefully bow out, but not horribly far from the trailhead. Plenty rocky. Big log jam. So there's the bear box I saw. Oh, getting your feet wet cools them off like 10 degrees in one step. Okay, so bear box, nice fire pit, logs to lay on. Up here you're supposed to get, well, the whole park, you're supposed to get 100 yards from, 100 feet from your cooking area to camp. A lot of times that's really hard to do. It looks like people have been camping right up in here. And I don't know if they're crossing the creek or not. I don't know, that'd be the only way you could get that far away. Oh goodness, and I walked right past this. Three, four, five. 5 by 6. Chewed on by wolves and rodents. You can see where they chew the antlers for the whatever they get out of the bone. And elk skull. It looks like there's a trail that goes through here, so I don't know if that's bathroom or if there's more tent sites over here, but it's awful wet. It would be tough to get that far from your campsite, from the cook portion of it. But a pretty sight. Not a spectacular view. And you can see where my brother-in-law is, not too far from the trail.
The others were so hard to get, and this one was not. Oh, is she? This is her pictures. She's always out. In fact, they were just starting to go through all the testing.
All right, here's campsite 2S3. I will walk into some of these because they're just not that far off the trail, but the ones that are, you know, a mile plus both ways, not so much. And most of those are the horse sites. I believe this one's just going to be right up here in these trees. Nice little creek or stream that runs right past it. Okay, this one's a fair pace off the beaten path. You can see up in the trees there the bear box. I'm not going to go any further. We've got miles still to cover. Probably another hour and a half, 2 hours of hiking to get to our site. I don't know, just from the things that I have heard of our site, we have the best view that just overlooks the valley just up on the hill, and that's why I picked it. We have found the trailhead to 2S 7 and 8, and I think one of these is a horse camp and one of them is a backpacker camp, but we saw this, and I guess it's just a corral for horses. Oh, and there's a cabin. So this is also the Elk Tongue River that you can hear. It's not a very big a river, but it is a river. And the patrol cabin. So this is going to be the Forest Service, is where they keep their horses when they come out. And that about looks like a garden shed more than a cabin, but it's like an outhouse and just the cabin and a hitching post and a corral. This is the Elk Tongue Patrol Cabin. Maybe you picked the good spots. Confluence of the two rivers. Buffalo in your front yard. So it'll be ridiculously hard to see, but straight across from us is an elk. So we are on bear, buffalo, and elk. And for all you people that want to correct me on the buffalo bison thing, don't bother. I know that officially they're bison, but they've been Americanized to buffalo, and I'm not changing my ways. With that, we are almost in Montana.
There you go.
Woohoo! Left Wyoming, I'm in Montana. We're still trying to figure out that one elk is just alone, so Wonder if she's got a calf, maybe hid in the bushes somewhere. But usually even then they would be in herds.
Oh, maybe there's another one that's around in there that we just can't see.
Yeah, and that's possible down in the willows maybe. And that means we're getting really close to camp, which is good. Everybody's about had it. We're at almost 8 miles. Or maybe we're at 8 miles by now. Well, hallelujah. There is 2S6, which is us for the night. Everybody's getting here. I believe we're just going to be up on top of this little bench right here and just have a view of the whole place. Yep, there is the pole. And they actually have a bear box here as well. That's at least what it said. Little creek, not quite as big as the others, but we'll take it. Little bit of firewood, and we'll just have to scoot out a little ways for setting up tents. This is all right. And I think just for the wildlife viewing part of it. No, there's a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 5, 6, 6 by 6. This would be where I'd set my tent up if it were me. How do you beat that? It's completely flat. There's room for about 8 tents right here. And you just aren't going to beat that view anywhere. I can even see the Elk Tongue patrol cabin. Well, the sun has started to go down and actually got somewhat dark with all the clouds moving in. Then it started reflecting on these clouds, and I decided to get the camera out and fill you in. I use the 360 camera. Goodness gracious, it's an Insta360 1X2, so it's not really a wildlife viewing camera. It's just a trail camera, and I can kind of get all angles as I'm hiking and go through and edit out what I want. But we had dinner and we're sitting here with binoculars looking at this hill over here. We had a grizzly bear come out of a grove over here, and while we were trying to explain to my wife where it was, she found a black bear on the hill over here, and then both of them went up the hill and disappeared into the just over the little horizon there. And then 3 elk came out and came down the hill there in front of us. There's still 5 buffalo across the road. We had 2 white-tailed does with 2 fawns just right here in front of us, run across this meadow right here in front of us. This has just been a spectacular trip, and this sunset, I mean, wow. So we ended up hiking 8, I'll have to look at my GPS, but it was 8 something miles. We're at the highest campsite, 2 miles, I think, from the Yellowstone border. But this is the part of the Lamar Valley, and yeah, this is where the animals are at. They're definitely not down Beckler, and not around Yellowstone Lake, at least that I've ever seen them. So what a great ending to the first day. We're trying to decide what we're going to do tomorrow. how far we're going to go. There are the two waterfalls across the way making noise. Frogs croaking. We've had a bunch of birds. They've kind of settled down finally, but what an ending to the day. I have some, hopefully have some stills of the bears that we saw. I mean, they're like a mile away. We're taking them with phones, but you can still pick them out what they are. So I'll try to include some stills. Well, good morning. It is, I don't even know what time, probably close to 9. We've 8:30. All right, it's 8:30. We woke up, we've been up since 6:30, whatever. There was 7 head of elk across the river again this morning. I'm actually going to try to go down closer and across all this swampy grass down here below and see if we can see, I don't know, anything that we're not seeing. There's just still buffalo across from us, and we just heard, I don't know if it was a coyote or a wolf, but something was howling and carrying on across the way. One thing to note from this campsite, I have Verizon. We just turned our phones on just on a whim and actually had enough service to call. I call my mom. She worries about us being out here with bears, but I think I scared her more than I made her feel better because she didn't think we'd call, and she assumed since I called something was wrong. But we got her all calmed back, and we're gonna go do a day hike here. After a little while, we'll let the fire go out, and we're trying to let the sun hit our bear box. It rained last night, and everything's pretty wet. And it said there was only like a 12% chance of rain, so I was surprised, I guess, that it rained as much as it did, because it rained for several different times last night and for hours at a time when it rained. So things are a little wet this morning, but beautiful. And the wildlife here is just, it's everything I hoped it would be. The water was a little deeper at that one crossing than I hoped for, and my left foot is full of water, but not full of water, it's just damp. But I am trying. I have all sorts of new gear. I really want to try it out before I really talk about it, but I have a new pack that so far I really love. And I don't get anything for saying anything about stuff, but it's a Durston Kakwa, I think it's a 50. Anyway, really enjoying it so far, but this is the first trip I've had it on. I decided to give alpaca socks a try. They just say they're completely hydrophobic, way better than wool. And even right now, my foot's wet, but it's not wet. I don't understand how it works, but I tried Willow Ace was the first brand I tried. I don't know. They feel like a snake's biting my foot the whole time, like a boa constrictor. They're so tight. I don't really like that brand. And then I went to I don't even know what the brand these are. I want to say it's Willow also, but it's not Willow Ace. I like them much better fit for me. They're a little fuzzier and softer. The other ones remind me of like dress socks, where they're a tighter weave. They say they last longer, but they're just not comfortable, so, to me. And I'm trying to think what else I have. I got a bunch of new little things, but nothing too exciting. A new food sack, and I tried the new toothbrush that clips on your long-handled spoon. Can't get it to stay on my spoon, for one. Like, it falls off while it's in your mouth. And then the other thing is you're rubbing your handle of your spoon against your gums and your teeth, and I don't really like that either. It's a neat idea. That's going to be a lose for me. I don't really like it either. I'll go back to the little toothbrush. I keep buying stuff from Garage Grown Gear, and they give me a little, like, 2-inch toothbrush every time I buy stuff. And I just think that is the better of the options for me. Again, these are all my personal opinions. Yours may vary. Oh, and I bought the Nemo Moonlight, I think it's Moonlight chair. That one's totally a win. It's adjustable, so you can kind of lounge in it. Not like lounge, but you can kind of lean back in it. Or you can tighten the back up and sit more upright in it. And I don't think it's just a little heavier than the Helinox or the REI one that are ultralight, but and then I bought a new set of trekking poles. I bent mine. Probably have it on video, but we were snowshoeing up around. Is it Liberty? Not Liberty Lake. Above Ruth Lake, though, and that little lake drainage up there. It'll come to me eventually. We were snowshoeing one winter and caught on those big jumble of rocks above the lake. That's below, that Liberty drains out into anyway. You go Ruth, you go up to Hayden, that drains into Liberty, that drains into the lake I can't think of. Anyway, bent my poles, and I was able to, like, for the most part, straighten them out. They still work, but the one pole is super hard to slide in and out. So to adjust, you can do it. It's not that easy. So I bought a new pair of poles, and they're Durston brand again. I don't get anything for it. I like their stuff. The guy knows what he's doing. And they're brand new, kind of a brand new thing. And I don't even know the model. I can't even think of the name of it. But it snaps. The bottom section just snaps in, and then the top section telescopes. And they're like 2.4 ounces. They're absolutely wonderfully light. The only gripe I have, and it's barely to say it's a gripe, is there's no wrist straps. So I'm going to have to fashion something there. I was just reading after I bought them that people kind of complained that there was no wrist strap, so they've put them on. Like, from now on, you get them with them on. I wish I'd have known that. I'd have waited. But I'll just fashion something. Anyway, It's a new update. I'll show you all this stuff eventually. We'll sit down and look at everything and talk a little more about it. But beautiful trip. So you can see there's a couple of buffalo. There's been 5 hanging out, but a couple of them are laying down, so you can't see them. There's 2 up grazing, or 1 up grazing, and I think 1's laying down. That way, the waterfall, hopefully we can zoom in on it. And there's a big waterfall, and then there's a smaller one just to the right of it, but that's what's all the noise isn't even the river, it's just the falls. And then just a spectacular view. Those mountains are outside of Yellowstone. We're only like, I'm gonna say 2 miles to the border. And then you can make my tent out on this bench up here. Danatina's tent's in the shadow, so you can't really see it. And then just downriver from us, there's the ranger cabin. I can just barely see the roof line of it. It's just an absolutely spectacular place to be. So we were all just sitting on a log there by the river and glassing the hillsides, and I saw what I was pretty sure was a bear. And then it started moving, and it indeed was. And there was looked like a burnt stump next to it, and it was a black bear. It started moving too, but from the profile of it, one was a really blonde bear and one was a really dark bear. And they were both grizzly. You could see the humps on them. So this is, I said in the beginning, mating season for them. One of them was noticeably bigger than the other. So I believe we just saw a mating pair, not mating, but kind of what we came here for. I just can't say it enough. This has just been like the ideal trip for wildlife. If you want to see Yellowstone wildlife, come here. So that makes, we saw the sow and the cub in the car on the way to the parking lot. The first bear we saw on the trail. We saw, and we actually pulled the pictures up, my wife took, a grizzly bear yesterday, and then there was another black bear, and I thought, man, maybe they're the same, but you can tell by the profiles, it was not a grizzly bear. It was just a little black bear. And then we've seen another 2 grizzly bears this morning. And hopefully tonight we get to see some more. So we came up on this little bridge, little crossing right here. And I thought, man, they got a culvert or something in this one because it's actually water pouring out, but they built a square out of timber. But then down below it here, we have a beaver dam, and we passed just a gigantic beaver lodge up just behind us a little bit. No real sign of active beaver up here, though. I haven't seen anything fresh. And there's 2 beaver skulls sitting on our bear box. We've passed a couple pretty good sized wolf prints that are, week old or weeks old. I'll try to video the next one we see, or I'll stick a still, one or the other. But they're definitely around. That is the only thing we're missing on this trip is a wolf. So in researching this trip, we considered going up to what they call Frenchie's Meadow. If you don't know anything about Frenchie's Meadow, look it up. He was a trapper hunter. They almost called him a poacher in some of the things. And he had trapped a bear just over the hill here in front of us. Sorry. And went to get it out of the trap or take care of it, and it killed him. And the rangers found him and just buried him in a meadow up here. But this is the park boundaries. From here on out, you are no longer in Yellowstone. I'm going to go up just a little bit further because there's a lodge up here called the Silvertip Lodge. And I don't know anything about it, but if you have more money and you know what to do with and want to come stay, I believe this would be one of those kind of places. You'd either get to ride a horse in or a wagon. I'm not sure exactly how they do stuff, but it just seems like this Google Earth point of view of quite a place. And this is private property on the buckboard fence here on our side, and then around it, so the trail has to go clear up and around it to get there. But they have bunkhouses and a lodge and it's a pretty well taken care of place. But quite a bit different from, in Yellowstone. So there's their little covered wagon. They have several of them there, I can see. I almost thought it was a side-by-side or a four-wheeler at first, but I mean, that is a proper big lodge. And there's somebody running a chainsaw, 10 feet outside of the park boundaries, but it's legal outside the park boundaries. And there is a guy on a side-by-side up here. That is quite the place. No doubt about it. So we just came back into the park a little bit ago. Ranch, we sat down, we had some lunch. Rested. Hey, this is just a good trip that we're not killing ourselves hiking 10, 15 miles a day. Don't really have anywhere to go today other than just walk around. Actually, yeah, you can still see back this other way the roofs from the barns and stuff. But we decided to walk down the river. We're going to walk it until it gets swampy, and then we'll head back to the trail. Alright, we did a little, well, I took a nap when I got back from camp. Felt good till the sun came out full on that tent. Those Dyneema tents are sweet unless they're set up out in the sun. It's beating on them like a greenhouse. So after that, we hiked up the hill here just to get a little better view of the river, the mountain across from us. We're not seeing any more animals right now other than the buffalo that are just planted down there. Okay, so we're coming down the hill, and I look over in this tree at this like little nest full of bear poop. just right. I don't know if you can see down there, that's Tina and Dan down there at our camp under the tree, and that is lots of bear poop. I'm not going to crawl in there and see how fresh any of it is, but you just, you know, we see all the bears on the other side of the river and like to think that we're sitting over here all cool without it. And they're over here too. All right, morning of the third day, we have packed up. Dan and Tina were right there. Steph and I were right there. We have combed the camp, cleaned everything up, made sure we didn't leave anything behind. Haven't had a fire since last night. It is properly out. This campsite was like spectacular. Everybody says, oh, 5-star, 5-star. Well, 5 stars indeed. The water's a little swampy. Now that's the only complaint I can even think of, and that's pretty nitpicky. There's an elk that has come out here this morning down where the buffalo are across the river. Birds chirping, flowers in bloom. High probability that I would be back here. So we will see if we can find us another bear on the way out. Not that we need it. We're up to, I believe, 7. And then last night we saw the same pair, the big black 4 and the blonde grizz up high. They were still out in that same meadow. So we have just wildlife viewed ourselves into oblivion. I don't know what this drainage, whatever you want to call it, is like all the time, but springtime, this is a place to be. And I would wonder, there's a campsite, I was looking at it, it's S8J, I think. I'm not sure on the letters. I know we were S6, and I think it's J, I'm not sure. And it's a great campsite. There's one directly across the valley where all those buffalo and the bears have gone through it, the buffalo have gone through it, the elk have gone through it, underneath those waterfalls. So I would wonder if those waterfalls are still a thing in the fall, or if it's just snow melt. I don't know where all that water comes from. That would be a cool campsite to check out. It's a stock campsite, but they'll let backpackers in it. And it'd be cool to hike to that waterfall. But I wouldn't cross the river right now without a pack raft. And they just don't allow pack rafts up here, so that just isn't happening. And the spur trail to the campsite is clear back at the ranger station. Not clear back, it's like a mile. And I don't know if there's a bridge down there or not, but I sure don't think so. Of course, this part of the trip is just the backwards part of the other trip, but I live in Wyoming and I am home. Just left Montana. Ranger station's in sight. We've only been on trail for, I don't even think, 10 minutes. We're making much better time on the way out than we are on the way in. I might actually drop my pack at the ranger station and go in and see that other campsite because it was right there. And I'd be curious where the crossing is for the campsites. And I finally looked at my paper. They don't start with an S, they start with a 2. So we were in 2S6. The campsite straight across from us is 2S8. And you can tell where those big old buffalo bulls take a leak because smell it for a half mile around. We can all, I don't know if it's a cheeseburger we can taste or what we can taste, but there's something out down here that calling our names. There's no Pizza Hut around here to get a deep dish meat lover, so we'll take something else greasy. Hey, so we had a wagon go by a minute ago from the Silvertip Ranch that was for carrying people. It was a little canopied seated. This looks like a gear wagon. Good morning. We were looking up on the internet last night. You guys have a dude ranch, but it's not for hire. It's by invitation only. Is that correct? We were looking up Silvertip last night. You guys have your dude ranch, but it's not by, you can't like make reservations. It's an invitation only. I understand that, but you don't do reservations and just haul people in all the time. It's people you invite, people you know. Okay. Pretty awesome. We walked up to your gate yesterday. It's a pretty cool place. And I like, we see it. We live in Wyoming. My brother-in-law used to run a team for everything, so I like seeing them out on the trail. It's kind of cool. So anyway, have a great day. Well, there you have it. It's a private deal, and they don't solicit outside. So back at the ranger station, there was actually 2 off-duty rangers there that were staying at the cabin, and then they had a couple guests with them, which is awesome. I have stayed at stock sites before, like livestock sites, horseback guys. These sites here, 2S7 and 2S8, are livestock only. They actually don't allow backpackers in them. And I'm not 100% sure where it's at. Said it was only 100 yards or so in, but some of them are dual use and some of them are not. So the only way to get to that campsite across from us is to cross the river, and they don't open these till, they said July 1st. And if it's much beyond here, I'm not going to go any further, but and they do that to allow the river to come down. I'm guessing it's right here up in the trees, or else it's far away and I'm not going. Oh, it could be right there. Man. Talked myself into it again. That would be my guess, is it's going to be on this bench right here. Oh. That is not horribly old. And a proper big pile of grizzly crap. Okay, so I can see the box. So that campsite is going to be right there on that bench, right on the river. Oh, we're so close. What the heck? Two S4. So maybe, I don't know where 7 and 8 is. This one is seems like a really cool camp as well. I swear I saw a box. But now I don't see it anymore. That's crazy. Cool campsite, but you're so close to the river and these little mounds across from us, you can't see the hillside on the other side, so you'd have to cruise out a little bit to get your wildlife viewing in. I'm positive I saw that box, and maybe it was just the color of some dead pine needles or something that was showing that. Well, I don't see the poles. I don't see the bear pole, and I don't see the fire pit. Maybe it's just back in the trees. There's a couple of what's left of some elk. All right, crazy. Well, there you have it. I didn't make it to the camp. I wonder if 2S7 and 2S8 are both across the river. Oh, here we go. So this is 2S4. Okay, nice fire area, bear box. Looks like the tent sites are going to be over yonder. Really, really deep in the woods here. This is a completely different feeling. Lots of kitchen area, lots of good benches, and all the benches around our fireplace at 2S6, like you touch the logs and there was fire ant nests inside them, and they just came out with a vengeance. It's like, holy cow. So lots of tent spots through here. And I think I'm on the trail from the main trail, like I'm on the spur trail. I thought this was going to go to campsites. Yeah, I'm a little torn now. I got to go back to the ranger station, which is going to dump me way out further down the trail. I'm going to have to backtrack to pick up the rest of my group and then backtrack again to go out. Good thing it's early in the morning and I'm raring to go. I really like the whole way off the trail thing, though. Here we are. Yeah, so that was 2S4. And now, unfortunately, I got to go the wrong way. So, all right, I'll pick up somewhere else.
Big wide doors.
Yeah, so the barn's not really used anymore. It's, I mean, they put a metal roof on it to kind of keep it
Protected.
protected.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the early 1900s, they were, I mean, they're harvesting hay in the meadow there for maybe the buffalo ranch, and I don't know what they were using it for, but.
So I saw somewhere, and it may be just way back then, that you could rent them, or they had
Not in Yellowstone.
Not in
so
Yellowstone.
The Forest Service has a lot of rental cabins.
Okay.
And so those are they
Because
rent those on recreation.
On my map, it was listed as the patrol cabin and then the bunkhouse.
Oh, huh.
So
Barn,
thought that was weird.
bunkhouse.
But I mean, I do a lot of Google research and
Yeah.
stuff, and they were just like, yeah, you could. Or wintertime, there's people that were caretakers that would come up here and shovel the roofs and do stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stuff you read, you don't know what to believe. But we stayed by Union Falls last year. We did Beckler last year and stayed there, and that was the first A-frame
Yeah.
That's
style
what-
that I'd
that's
ever
the
seen.
heaviest snow, and so they have to have the A-frame for all the snow to.
But like the one up at Three Rivers, that cabin came down the canyon in Beckler.
Yes, we
yeah,
did.
They'll ski in there. They'll shovel the roof.
Wow.
In the winter.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we did from Old Faithful
yeah.
to there and hit over to Union and hit over to Denunda
Yeah.
Falls. Made a trip out of it. And then this is crazy because I just counted it up. We're like 21 days backcountry in Yellowstone, and you're the first rangers I've ever seen,
wow.
and not even on duty. So
Yeah, right. I was on duty yesterday. I'm technically not on duty today.
Well, we
Great.
appreciate
Yeah.
you visiting with us. Holy
Yeah.
cow, that's
I've only ever-
fantastic.
I've only ever seen inside a cabin once, and it was in a picture somebody else had taken. So.
Well, I've seen the thoroughfare cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower
Pictures.
Slough is cool because it's log.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thoroughfare is nice too because it's
Awesome.
like 2 rooms and.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, fancy.
Yeah.
That's the
They,
biggest thing.
thoroughfare used to have somebody who would stay there all summer long, and now they just stay there.
Is that a bull closest to us too, though? I mean, he's not quite. I guess it is.
Yeah.
You don't have the fuzzy belly button like the rest of them do.
It's got a little bit of one there.
So all the bulls are off. No, there's a calf. There's a calf laying down.
We were driving by one and there were two kind of.
Right.
Oh, it is.
Right there.
Oh,
What?
darn.
There's a calf.
No, this is a bull here.
Yeah, that one. Yep. No, they're gonna fight. Let's not get in the middle of that. There ain't a tree big enough to hide behind.
I was pushing Wes in a stroller out when we were living at Saxon, and two bulls the fight as I was going by, and I picked up that stroller and ran for it.
There's your
there he stood
baby.
up.
There it is. I
If I
had
can
my
get on
camera
the
out.
other
I didn't
side
take a
of this.
picture, but I don't think
Bull,
I
he's
can
got
get
a
through it.
pooper and a baby all in one shot.
Dad and baby staring it down.
Yeah. Yeah, those two little bulls are fighting, but you notice they're not going over to the two big ones and fighting.
No, they learn rather quickly.
So here's the dilemma you run into when there is animals. I think they're all going to go across the trail and let us go except for one. And I don't know. And it's a swamp on both sides to go around. So we're trying to figure out, I guess we're just stuck here for a minute. There he's gonna go. Maybe. They finally went. They finally went on by and let us go. It wasn't very long. But they're eyeballing us. All right, sorry guys, my battery died like 100 yards from the trail or less. Anyway, I caught a second wind and just kind of went for it. My calves and my shins felt like they were trying to trade places. No? Oh, well, it lied. Anyway, awesome trip. Anybody that wants to see wildlife, this is definitely a place to go. The campsite we stayed at, the 2S6, for sure is the best one. It's the furthest one in, of course, hardest to get to, but no question about it, best one. So thanks for coming along. Get out and explore. Lots of places to go. We'll see you on the next one.